The Sixers are back. The Sixers are healthy. And their next stretch of games is the easiest stretch of games in the entire NBA. Let's talk about what to expect.
Run it back, Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros.
Run it back, Nation. What is going on? Thanks for being here. Thanks for returning. If you are new, on this channel, we talk 76ers every day. Daily videos, and we do post-game live shows right after every single 76ers game. If that interests you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn your notification bell on, and give the video a like. And watch Sixers Wizards with us tonight on Playback TV, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. This video is brought to you by HelloFresh. Skip the grocery store this holiday season. Have fresh ingredients delivered right to your front door, ready to go. And right now, you can get free breakfast for life by going to HelloFresh.com/runitbackfree and using the promo code RunItBackFree. Link is in the description. Let's get into the content. And no, that was not an intro. Sixers versus Wizards injury report does not list Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre is officially back. He's officially back. He's ready to go. Don't forget, in his debut as a Philadelphia 76er, he dropped 27 points. Give me your predictions in the comments. What do you think Kelly Oubre is going to do tonight against his former team, the Washington Wizards? Give me your thoughts on Kelly Oubre returning in the comments. Kelly Oubre Jr. is not on the injury report. The only Sixer listed is DeAnthony Melton, who is listed as probable. DeAnthony Melton was listed as probable yesterday with an illness. So the same illness that has gone around the Sixers locker room. I think first it was Jaden Springer, and then it moved on to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and now DeAnthony Melton is listed as probable with the illness. DeLon Wright, Ryan Rollins are out. Jordan Poole, Landry Shamet. Yeah, Landry Shamet plays for the Washington Wizards, where players' careers go to die. Shout out to Landry Shamet, process Sixer, RIP, sacrificed him, unfortunately, for Tobias Harris. DeLon Wright, Ryan Rollins, Jordan Poole, and Landry Shamet. Jordan Poole, Landry Shamet, and Johnny Davis are listed as questionable. If Jordan Poole doesn't go, the Sixers will have a tougher time with the Washington Wizards because they are easily better without that shot chucker around. Anyway, there you go. Nicholas Patum is not listed on the injury report after missing Friday's game in Boston, so he should be able to play tonight also. Dislocated his finger a couple of weeks ago, and then he hyperextended his finger a couple of games ago and has been out, a couple of games. So Nicholas Batum should be back also. So the Sixers' depth, the middle of the roster, the center of the roster, is back. You know, we played all those games without Oubre, without Patum, without this guy, without that guy, and everyone said the Sixers have no depth. The Sixers need to make a trade. The Sixers need this, need that. We're finally getting back to the full, healthy roster after the James Harden trade with the role players, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, and those guys, Marcus Morris that came over in that trade, and Kelly Oubre. You're about to see a different Sixers team. You're about to see a different Sixers team. I hope you're as excited as I am. And they get these 7 games that, shouldn't be too challenging. Nick Batum was wearing a wrap on his finger at Sixers shoot-around and said that it's feeling better. He said the 4-day break was actually perfect timing to give it time to heal, but that he still feels some pain and is trying to get used to it. So he is still in a little bit of pain. We'll have to see, what he looks like tonight. All right, man, here you go. Here's the 76ers' next 10 games. And, what a better time to get a bunch of games like this against some lackluster opponents to get healthy, get everybody back in, get everybody acclimated, and get going. Here you go. The Washington Wizards tonight. The Atlanta Hawks on Friday. The Washington Wizards again on Monday. The Detroit Pistons on Wednesday. The Detroit Pistons again that Friday. Back-to-back then against the Charlotte Hornets, and that is a traveling back-to-back through time zones, and you know how that went down, at least against the Minnesota Timberwolves last week. Charlotte Hornets aren't the Minnesota Timberwolves, of course, so we'll see. Then they got the Chicago Bulls that Monday. Then speaking of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they got the Minnesota Timberwolves that Wednesday. It would be nice to get our lick back on the Timberwolves. Maybe we'll actually be rested and ready to go for that game. So the NBA didn't give us 6 games in 9 days in a traveling back-to-back. Then you got the Raptors, the Miami Heat, the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic surprising this year, number 2 seed in the East right now. We'll see if they do what Orlando Magic usually does and falls back down, as the season goes on. But they are healthy. They got a lot of talent. The Houston Rockets. And then you got a back-to-back, not a back-to-back, but the same team back-to-back, the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Bulls. So in that 10 games, you got the Detroit Pistons twice, you got the Washington Wizards twice, you got the Chicago Bulls 3 times. The Chicago Bulls are abysmal right now and are trying to trade everybody and actually are having no luck trading Zach LaVine. But there's the next 10 games. Now, I would love to say the Sixers are going to win 10 games in a row, but I want to kind of be realistic here. So let's go ahead and pick out of this list 2 of these games that we'll say could potentially be either a trap game or maybe you play without Joel and get run on a little bit, or you're tired on a back-to-back or whatever, and you lose 2 of these games. Let's go ahead and pick out 2 of these games and call them trap games and potential losses, because 8-2 is definitely what the 76ers should do in this 10-game span. If they lose more than 2 of these games, there's an issue. I don't think they're going to lose more than 2 of these games simply because of how they've been playing this season effort-wise. Against these tanking teams, they've been taking care of business. They've been going out and showing effort from start to finish, and even when they have a bad shooting night or whatever, they crash the boards, they play defense, sometimes a little bit lackluster in the first half, but there's usually an adjustment at halftime. They usually ramp up the defense in the second half and take care of business. The Detroit Pistons game a couple of weeks ago, I felt that way. They were really kind of just lazy in the first half, and Detroit's got a lot of young talent that can run up and down the floor. In the second half, they came out, ramped up the defense, took care of business, and Joel Embiid didn't come back in the fourth quarter. Let's go ahead and pick out 2 of these games that we could say could be trap games. So the first one I'm going to pick actually is this Friday against the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to call that a trap game. I think maybe you get Trae Young going off a little bit. Maybe you get DeJounte Murray going off a little bit. Maybe the Sixers get beat on the boards. Maybe they get ran in transition a little bit. I'm going to pick that one, I think, as a trap game. The last time we faced them, we beat them 126-116. Joel had a 32-piece, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, almost a 30-point triple-double. Trae Young was held to 22 points on 5 of 14 from the field. A lot of that was Jaden Springer putting the clamps on Trae Young in the third and the fourth quarter. So we'll see on Friday if Nick Nurse uses Jaden Springer in that same kind of defensive weapon role, trying to slow down Trae. But just to say we're not going to demolish all of these teams, I'm going to go ahead and say the Atlanta Hawks this Friday is a trap game. I would say this Detroit Pistons repeat Wednesday and Friday the 13th and the 15th. One of those is a trap game, but I just don't see that happening. Even if they play lackluster or lazy in the first half, they'll adjust at halftime and ramp it up. There's no reason they should lose any of the 3 games to the Washington Wizards, or either game to the Detroit Pistons, or any of the 3 games to the Chicago Bulls. The Sixers are getting their lick back on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's a game that I'm really anticipating December 20th on NBA TV. They are getting their lick back on the Minnesota Timberwolves. They're not losing that game either. So Washington, Atlanta, I picked as a trap game. Washington, Detroit, Charlotte, Chicago, Minnesota, they get their lick back. Where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nick Nurse returns to Toronto. No, he already returned to Toronto. This is in Philly. This is Toronto coming to Philly. Nick Nurse is not losing to the Toronto Raptors, not this year. I'll go ahead and say the Miami Heat on Christmas Day is another trap game. Maybe Jimmy Butler gets some kind of Christmas Day motivation and goes crazy on us. Maybe they rain threes and shoot a high percentage from 3. Maybe Bam Adebayo has a big-time game, and maybe we just kind of shoot a bad percentage and have one of those off games, and Miami takes us out on Christmas Day on ESPN. And if they do, expect everybody to overreact on social media. Oh, it's over. We can't win any big games. ESPN, Christmas Day, the loss, it's terrible. Trade everybody, fire the coach. Expect that. But there you go. That's what I'm going to pick as my 2 trap games in this run. They very well could lose to the Minnesota Timberwolves, but I want them to win that game more than any game in this stretch. And when do we play the damn Boston Celtics again, man? Where are they at? We don't play the Celtics again until February 27th on TNT. Mark that on your calendar. And actually, that run right there, look at that. You got ESPN, ABC, TNT, ABC, ESPN, February and March, man. That's when the NBA really starts to get crazy. But there's my opinion on the remaining schedule or the next 10 games and just trying to pick out what games could be a trap game. Honestly, they should win all 10 of them, but we'll see, man. Give me all your thoughts and opinions. What games in that list do you think has the potential to be a trap game? Give me your record prediction for the Sixers for the next 10 games. I got 8-2. Give me yours and any other thoughts and comments you have. Drop it down below. Thanks for tuning in. Watch Sixers Wizards with us tonight on Playback TV, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. And this video was brought to you by HelloFresh. Get free breakfast for life by going to HelloFresh.com/runitbackfree and using the promo code runitbackfree. I'm out of here!